I'm sure I've all heard the term soulmate and twin flame before, but these are actually very, very different things that a lot of people confuse with one another, and the way that they handle them ends up being very, very different. So we need to differentiate what is a soulmate and what is a twin flame type of connection. So probably most people have heard soulmate before, but maybe not necessarily the term twin flame. Now, these are various connections that we can have throughout our lifetime where we connect with another person who changes us in many, many ways. So there is some common ground with both of these types of connections, but they're also extremely different with how they come into our life and the purpose and way that we handle the situation. So, to really begin talking about this, we have to realize that soulmate connections, twin flame connections, they don't necessarily have to be romantic in nature. They can be, and a lot of times we may perceive them as such primarily because we look at it as a type of connection that is far beyond anything that we could possibly comprehend or really understand. And it really brings us a lot of very unique feelings deep down that says, this person is very different from all the other people that I have met before. So you're naturally inclined to feel some sort of level of attraction to that person because of the type of connection. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be romantic in nature, because it could be among friends, and it could be even your own family members could be a type of soulmate connection. So if you really think about it deep down, we've all had some sort of connection to some degree. Even if you feel as though, oh, maybe you didn't necessarily ever have a soulmate type connection. If you really think about it and the type of transformation that you've gone through, I'm sure you've met some people who have really helped you throughout your lifetime, who have really, if it wasn't for them, your life would not be where it is today. So I think we can really think about that as a way of realizing that these people come into our life for a very significant purpose, and it's up to us to learn the lessons from these individuals. And likewise, we are a soulmate to them, or could even have a twin flame type of connection. So let's really break these two types of connections down and really try to understand what they are and why they are very, very different, because they should not be confused for one another. So, to begin, a soulmate, something that we've all probably heard the term. Some people think that this is going to be our ultimate romantic partner. And sure, it can be that, but as I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic in nature. So a soulmate is considered to be someone else. It is a different soul than your own. Someone who has a different soul than your own. And that's a very key difference here between soulmate and twin flame. So when we get the twin flame, we will see a lot of the differences because of that. Now, these people, they come into your life, usually at a time that you may need them, and they help you along your journey in some sort of way. Usually this is a very profound type of connection that can make you feel a sense of familiarity with them, like you feel as though you may have known them for a long time, or maybe you've had a past life with them, or something along those lines, that you feel as if you know them to some degree, but you've never really met them before. There's just this sense that they are a very different and unique type of person. But ultimately, the key thing here is that they do help you along your journey, and likewise, you help them along their journey, even if they may not necessarily show or say that you really helped them. Now, these types of people, they can cause a spiritual awakening within you and rapid changes. They can cause a lot of things to be different within your life. But the thing is that sometimes they don't always last your entire lifetime. They can, absolutely. Like if you think about some of your best friends or connections that you have that are very different and unique from other people, they could last a lifetime, absolutely. But they don't always last an entire lifetime. And here's the way that I like to think about it that really differentiates it, because when we're thinking about connections within our life and we think about a soulmate type of connection, you're going on this journey, and you're going here, and eventually you meet someone at a time where both of you and this other person's ideas are aligned. And when you're in this alignment, you share a lot of similarities. You begin talking about similar things that are going on within your life. Perhaps you talk about things that happened in your own past that is very similar, that perhaps you've been raised in certain ways that are very, very similar. And there's a lot of things that make you feel this sense of familiarity that's very comforting and makes you feel as though you are not alone. And you're going on this journey, and perhaps for a period of time, it could be a few weeks, could be a few months, few years, or many, many years, or even your entire lifetime, where you're on a journey together, going on this path together. And you're accomplishing something. You have the same similar goals and mindset as you continue. But the thing is, if they don't always last, if you view that intersection, you're both coming to this intersection, you meet, there's some sort of transformation that happens, and it guides you in a different path within your life. And then you help them, guide them on a different path within their life as well. So when you meet, it may start to go in different directions where you two are no longer compatible anymore, and you no longer can really communicate. Or you just don't see eye to eye anymore, and you really don't resonate with them anymore. It's like, how did I even connect with that person before? When now, it's like you don't really have much similarities with them. So that could be a soulmate type of connection. Now, let's differentiate that with what a twin flame connection is. So as we mentioned with soulmates, soulmate is someone who has a different soul than your own. Okay? Twin flame is essentially your own soul, but in a different body. That is how it is described. So, if you imagine your own soul that is inhabiting this body, imagine that is in a different body, someone else. It could be anywhere in the world that this other person is, with your own soul. Why is that very different and very important? Because that differentiates what this type of connection actually is. Because you're not connecting with someone else, you're connecting with yourself. So that means the way that you approach it and the level of transformation that happens is very different from what a soulmate connection brings. Now, the other interesting thing is that this person who you may look at as a different soul, but actually is your own soul if they truly are your twin flame. It could essentially be a past life that you had once lived. So if you believe in past lives and reincarnations, perhaps in a past life you were this person, but that person is still you to some degree. So if you really think about it that way, it starts to make a lot more sense of how this type of connection can be so transformative within your own life. Because it's not something that can be very easily, you really can't easily explain this type of connection because it is so much more profound than a soulmate one. And as a result, when you meet this individual, there will be this much deeper, profound connection that is much deeper than what a soulmate brings. So if you've met soulmates before, and you feel that type of connection there, you will know, not long after you meet a twin flame, that this connection is completely different than anything else you had ever experienced before. It's something that is far more profound than anything else you would ever experience before. And the main purpose of you meeting yourself in a different body, essentially, is to cause a massive spiritual awakening within you. This will increase your intuition. It will increase the amount of synchronicities that you experience within your own life. So if this person truly is your twin flame, which is essentially you in a different body, they will cause these massive spiritual awakening and this intuition, these synchronicities within your life. And the thing is, this connection will always be there to some degree. Even if you don't talk with this person or are in any sort of contact with them whatsoever, because it's you. It's your own soul in a different body experiencing life in a very different way. So when we really think about it then, a soulmate connection could be someone who's very similar to a you. They could share a lot of similar beliefs, ideas, and the way that they were brought up, very, very similar. So you resonate with them. Whereas a twin flame, they could be completely different from you. Because we're talking about the soul is the same. Just because the soul is the same doesn't mean that the physical is the same, or the way that they go about their life, the way that they think. That doesn't mean that that is the same. So this could be someone who is the total opposite of you in many, 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 many ways. There could be some similarities, absolutely, and usually there is. But the thing is, because this connection is very different, we cannot look at it as this is someone who is very different. I mean, this is someone who is very different from you, as opposed to someone who is being very similar. Of course, you will have there will be many similarities, but it will be very, very different in many ways. So the main takeaway from all this is that soulmate is another person. A twin flame is you. And how we connect and differentiate these is really about the level of spiritual awakening that happens and what you experience during these types of connections. So we will expand upon that and talk about some of these signs in our next segment, because this is something that's very, very interesting to really hone in if you have met someone who fits the criteria for a twin flame type of connection.